and pointers or electronic devices to the silent position. And at this time, we'll bring our meeting to order. We'll start with the city clerk calling the roll of the council.
The Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Hattie Portis Jones.
Present.
The Honorable Alex Heath.
Present.
The Honorable James Whitmore.
Present.
The Honorable Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
The Honorable Pat Palin.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you so much. At this time, will Pastor Cotto please come up? And would everyone please stand? Able? Right there.
Good evening. Let us pray. Dear God, thank you for your many blessings in our city of Fairburn. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you for what you're doing. Lord, and thank you for what you're going to continue to do in our city. I pray for our mayor, our city council, and officials. Grant them the wisdom for key decision. Lord, give them the ability to work together for the harmony, for the betterment of our city. Thank you for our police and fire department. Lord, we beg you, Lord, to continue taking care of them as they put their life on the line to take care of us. We love you, we thank you, and we ask for this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a presentation by the Fairburn Police Department internship program.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we're just got a brief presentation for you. The police department's been conducting internship programs for a while now, and it occurred to me that it'd be a good thing if we bring these students before you so they can discuss their experiences. So that's enough from me. I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Charles from Georgia State University.
Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
My name is Steve L. Charles, and I am currently a student at Georgia State University with the intent to obtain my bachelor's degree in criminal justice this upcoming fall semester. Before graduating, criminal justice students are required to intern at a host site that is within their pathway. Although my pathway is forensics, I chose to intern at the Fairburn Police Department in hopes to gain a better understanding of how the system works and how they enforce the law in person. That and the GBI, they take a lot of time to answer emails. However, Chief Bazzillo was extremely professional and often replied to my emails within the same day that I sent out. Love that. And knowing Chief, he is a very busy person, so that I was pretty impressed. Nothing went unnoticed when it came to the chief and how he runs the police department. There is a meeting every Wednesday to discuss what has been happening with the officers, any complaints, the department, etc. Chief ensures that he asks his team what should be done to better the department and to make certain that it runs smoothly. I notice how quickly officers respond to calls, which is a plus in my opinion because I live in Fulton County and they take a bit of time. I got to witness a few drug busts, but anything too major, basically misdemeanors or one felony. But I did, however, get to experience an investigation which involved the GBI. I thought that was pretty amazing how they secure the perimeter, take photographic evidence, etc. However, in my experience at Fairburn Police Department was nothing but a pleasant one. I came in with the intent of not knowing anything, but I came to know that how police departments operate and complete my credit hours. I am now leaving confused because I love the thrill of the police patrol cars, and as the officers call it, their mobile office. not being limited to one spot. As I depart from this internship, I am left with a lot to think about because now I am confused and considering joining the police force. Who knows what the future has for me? I want to say a great thank you to Chief for taking a chance on me. And as he said, you think it's an internship? No, it's a bribery. I'm taking it. You are greatly appreciated. And as Chief of Police of Fairburn, I know that Fairburn, the city of Fairburn, is in good hands. Thank you.
Awesome. You wanted to say something?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of council, I wanted to first thank you for your approval of our public safety housing incentive program at the last meeting. I wanted to inform you that in the police department, 8 of those 9 slots are now filled.
Wow.
3 of the fire department slots are filled. That's an indication of how impactful this program has the potential to be. I wanted to thank our Assistant City Administrator, Ms. Chris, for heading up that effort. I also wanted to thank Chief Pizzillo and Chief Robinson, working closely with her. It is already immediately impactful, and so we'll be looking forward to how this unfolds moving forward. I just wanted to acknowledge that it's off to a tremendous start, and to thank you for your support.
Yes.
Thank you.
And by the way, that resulted in one officer actually moving into the city of Fairburn,
Wow.
who had not previously lived in the city limits, and so there's a lot of potential there. Thank you.
Awesome. Great.
Members of council, you have before you the adoption of the city council agenda. At this time, I'd like to have a motion for the adoption of the city council agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. At this time, you have the minutes, the approval of the city council minutes that commenced at our last city council meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes on February the 27th, 2023?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we'll come to the part of our meeting for a public comment. 30 minutes will be available for public comment. Each speaker should be limited to 3 minutes. However, a speaker may transfer his or her 3 minutes to another speaker, but no speaker shall be permitted to speak for more than 6 minutes. Further, in the event, if more than 10 speakers desire to speak, each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Issues raised at this time will be referred to the city administrator for further review and responses provided at a later date. Ms. James, how many speakers do we have?
We don't have any.
Don't have any. I could have saved that. Okay. At that, okay, with that being said, we now will actually have, excuse me, the approval of our consent agenda. Does anyone have any item on the consent agenda that they want removed off the consent agenda?
Oh, wait 1 second.
Okay. Seeing none?
Mayor, can you identify what items are on the consent agenda?
Your consent
Yes,
agenda.
You
Yeah.
have 2 items. One is the Fairburn Fire Station plat and the resolution authorizing Amendment 2 of the Emergency Cleaning Services Agreement.
I see it now.
Okay. Does anyone have any objection to those items being taken off the consent agenda? Okay. With that being said, can I have a motion to approve the 2 consent agendas for item number one, for consent agenda item number 1, Fairburn Fire Station plat, and consent agenda item resolution authorizing Amendment 2 for the Emergency Cleaning Services Agreement? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Okay, I couldn't get who that was. It was,
So, moved it?
yes, who
Actually,
made the motion?
Mr. Palin.
Oh, Mr. Palin. Okay. I didn't hear him either.
Who's the second?
Me.
Mr. Heath. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. At this point, we have a public hearing item for the intergovernment agreement for elections.
Mr.
Am I
Mayor,
saying it right?
it's not a public hearing. It's just an agenda item.
That we're just gonna use, okay.
It's the intergovernment agreement for election with Fulton County. In the Georgia game, they spoke of many lawsuits municipalities might or have faced regarding elections. Without the proper staff, training, and equipment, it's my recommendation that we enter into the intergovernment agreement with Fulton County to conduct our general election and accept their proposed relocation of FA 010 New Beginnings Senior Center to the First Baptist Church.
Members of council, you had the item read before you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Any questions about this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Next item is the modular building review. The subject project and proposed building must comply with all local development regulations and more specifically, the requirements in the Highway 74 overlay architectural design standards in the interest of promoting desirable living environments, stable neighborhoods, sound commercial and industrial areas. Staff recommends the following, and I'm gonna let you come up with your conditions. The following conditions, and there are
9 conditions.
9 conditions.
Members of council, you'll go ahead. I'm gonna let you brief first. Go ahead.
Could you include your definition of modular, please?
Sure will.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The request before you is from Living Word Church Ministries. It's a request to construct a modular building. The subject property is located along Sonoy Road and totals 9 acres. The property is currently zoned for single-family residential, and the future land use designation is rural residential. The proposed use is a place of worship, and the required use permit was approved in 2016 with several conditions related to required infrastructure improvements. This proposal is rather unique. Typically, if someone comes to the city and wants to construct something, they would provide us with a conceptual site plan. That conceptual site plan will have details about the where the building will be located, parking. In this instance, they are proposing a modular building, which does require city council review. The ordinance requiring city council review, it was established in the 1970s, so it's rather dated. The modular structure per the city ordinance currently means any structure that is designed to be transported after fabrication to its location. The definition shall apply to all structures, regardless of whether they're the same, shall be transported to its completed stages. The evolution of modular buildings and mobile home and manufacture has far exceeded the definition that we currently have in the city ordinance, which is why we're here today. The property, what I think is also really, really helpful is the property is also in the Highway 74 overlay district, which means there are some architectural design standards that would apply to a traditional stick-built building. In 2016, a concept plan was approved with the use permit, and since that time, the applicant has decided to modify that concept plan. We have not been provided with full, complete elevations, but we were provided with some concepts to give you just a general idea of the building form, the proposed architectural detailing. And just to kind of give you a full scope view, modular buildings are typically, they range from different architectural styles. All the ones you see before you are all modular buildings. The difference is in the architectural design standards that a local government has, so that you can require something that is built off-site appear like it was built on-site. It's really in the architectural detailings that's critical, so that you can make sure that whatever's constructed, however the material, that you get to the ideals that are in your comprehensive plan that are then articulated in your zoning codes. So again, those are some examples of modular buildings that have been constructed. Now, of course, there are some that are considered sort of manufactured buildings. These are the traditional ones you see at construction trailers. They are the ones that you would see at a site where they are in the process of building homes and it is temporary in nature. And aesthetically, those are some of the ones that are not very popular. So these are sort of the traditional ideas when you think of like manufactured buildings. But according to our current ordinance, these structures are all considered the same. The difference and the critical piece in it is making sure that the architectural design standards are in place. In 2023, the applicant did provide us with a concept plan that showed the modular building, which is why we're here today. They have also provided us with a revised concept plan that shows a stick-built building, the traditional building, that would not require mayor and council approval. They would just go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, give us full elevations, And the Planning and Zoning Commission would make sure that all of the architectural design guidelines in the Highway 75 overlay district are in that building elevation. Again, this is something that requires mayor and council approval. Staff doesn't necessarily have a criteria for approval or denial, but in the event that this request is approved, staff does have a number of conditions that we would like to be considered.
Okay. Members of council, you have before you a red item. In this case that's already been read by the city clerk. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any questions or comments by members of council?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
For the record, could you state exactly where these 9 acres are on Sonoria Road?
Sure, they're along Sonoya Road, and if we could pull the map back up. Come on, clicker, you can do it. I believe in you. Come on, come on. Ooh, too far. There we go. Okay, the property is adjacent to Sonoy Road, and it is just south of Valley Brook Drive. The surrounding land use includes residential, some commercial, and a multifamily development that is also a little bit north of the property.
If I'm looking at it, just so I'll be real clear, because I was actually looking at the Google map. I'm looking at this slide. When I'm looking at Valley Brook, I'm at the corner of Valley Brook and Sonoya. And am I going up or am I going down?
You are going down.
Going down, and I'm going to the right in that yellow R1 area?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Okay, my question would be, how many feet from the street is this dwelling, the actual dwelling?
Let's see.
But basically, the question I was trying to determine was, were they gonna clear the entire area where, in this case, this is basically visible from the street?
It would be visible from the street. On the revised concept plan, it would not be visible from the street if there were significant landscaping around the building.
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
If there was landscaping or trees, like a buffer,
Okay.
that would prevent it from being if we use the revised concept that they provided.
Are we gonna use the revise?
That is up to the applicant, because we have 2 options that they provided. This one, which is very visible, and then another concept that's a little bit further from the road.
You mind if I'm just trying to make sure for clarification purposes. I'm sorry, there's a gentleman, I see you raise your hand. Could you come to the mic for a minute, sir? You can introduce yourself.
Good evening,
evening.
Honorable Mayor, Council. My name is Pastor William O'Neill, and I represent Living Word Church Ministries. We have several of our members here tonight, and the reason we are, do you care, is it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason we're deciding to use the modular technology, as you all remember, you all approved for us to put the church there, and our goal is to do it debt-free. And after 2020 and things of that nature, what happened was we're not positioned financially to build our original plan debt-free, but we had to move out of the space that we were in. So now we don't have a place of worship. We're meeting one Sunday a month there at the Creekside High School. The rest we're virtual. But we do have enough to complete this, and we didn't want to start any plan that we didn't have sufficient to finish. And with this technology, the modular technology, our goal will be to make it look like a traditional building so that we will have a place of worship. And this would be phase 1, and our goal will be to eventually build out the remaining 7 acres of the property.
And so my original question, basically in this case, the modified version that you submitted, in this case, you're saying, in this case, it hides the building?
That would be the goal, and if that's what you all need us to do, we will have our civil engineer to redraw it the way that would be in compliance with what mayor and council desire.
Okay, and just so I'm real clear, the building that's being here, there's a tree line there now. I'm actually now exactly where you are. My question is, are you taking away the trees and building behind that, or I'm trying to get a good idea of how's it how's the building being hid? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So the goal will be to create a drive into the space, and if we need to leave those trees, we will design it so that those trees remain, and we can create shrubbery or whatever landscaping needs to be there in order to be permitted by mayor and council.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's the question I had. Any members of council have a question?
I have one, yes, one more.
Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
Is this project subject to our tree ordinance and the replacement? And so it is subject to that. And could you state for me again why it has to come to council because it is a modular build request versus traditional?
Yes,
Okay.
Section 38-22 requires that mayor and council approve modular mobile buildings.
Okay, and then your statement earlier that you made relative to planning and zoning, you're saying if that were not the case, that they could have gone directly through P and Z
That is
for
correct.
approval? Okay, I just wanted to understand what you were saying. All right, and then lastly, is this also next to the apartments that are on Sonoria Road at Valley Brook?
It is in close proximity to the apartments, but not adjacent.
Okay, and then the 9 acres, the map, one of the other maps that you had 2 R1 plots. Does that include the 9 acres, or is that a different lot?
That's a different lot.
That's a different lot?
And I think we own that one as well. if
Oh,
it's
okay.
in- Am I correct in that? I think we own, when we purchased the lots, we purchased 9 acres, but one lot was separated out. So I can clarify that.
Okay.
Just so I'm real clear, sir, based on her question, the R1 that that's to the bottom of, on the Valley Brook, the 9 acres actually, in this case, if I understood you right, exceed that yellow space.
So if I'm correct, and I think we have one from our civil engineer that outlines, do you care to?
I do not believe that we have the survey close to. Let's see if we
Okay.
can,
Okay.
this was the original concept.
Yeah, so everything from Valley Brook over to Sonoria Road, back to where it's lined off there, belongs to Living Word.
Ms. Jones, you still have the floor. I just wanted for clarification, make sure I didn't. know what you
Yeah,
said.
and then I guess my last question would be about parking requirements and traffic evaluation. Have we done that, or is that included?
That was included as a part of the original concept plan, but the revised plan would have to go before planning and zoning. And during that time, the concept would be approved by our engineers, landscapers, the entire team.
Okay.
And then.
I'm done, thank you.
Okay, based on her question that she just asked, my preference, just so you know, my preference would be for you to remain the trees and cover it. My concern,
as well.
my concern is when the traffic, if I'm looking at this correctly, when the exit, no, go back to the map, go back to the exit of the Noya Road, I'm trying to determine, do you end up having to come this way to turn around and go around and go back to the expressway?
Okay.
So on the new plan, we would come in through Sonoria Road, the paved road. Our original plan, we were going to go through the old Sonoria Road, the dirt
Okay.
road, but it's my understanding that we would be required to pave that entire road, the full length of our property, should we enter the property from that side.
Okay. I guess, I'm more concerned, again, like I say, it's a one time a year, but coincidentally, whenever you're up and running, I'm thinking about days that the Renaissance Festival is stacked to the gill, coming toward the parks of Durham, going toward Durham Lakes from the expressway. If I'm trying to make sure I understand, if you're exiting the property to Lee Service, you're going in the same direction as the Renaissance Festival,
We
am
would
I?
not have to, we could exit and go to the right.
Okay, got you. That was, okay, that's what clarification I need. Does any member, Mr. Whitmore, go ahead.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is for staff. So I'm looking at your conditions. So help me. I think the way I'm reading this is that if approved with the revised plans, these are the conditions that will be applicable.
Yes, along with the Highway 74 Overlay District Architectural Design Guidelines.
Okay, and just for clarification, with the overlay district, that will be going back to planning and zoning.
That is correct.
Okay, so what's before mayor and council right now is
The modular building.
modular building. Okay, and help me here as well. Technology has changed with modular buildings. They're more energy efficient. They have the look of a structure that's built from the ground up, unless you know something else that I'm not familiar with.
Well, the key is in the design guidelines that are required. Modular and manufactured are not the same thing, although our ordinance classifies them as the same thing. What's critical is that, along with all of the other revisions that we're looking at, to really look at the language for modular manufactured building and make sure that the guidelines and supplemental regulations are incorporated.
Okay, another follow-up question. We're going back to the trees, all right? Now, when the final plan is presented, the planning and zoning, of course, we understand any tree that is removed, we have that tree, that's why we have the tree bank. But the ideal is to leave as many up as possible, all right? And for the vegetation to be of such aesthetically appealing, so on and so forth and so on, along with the other things that would be incorporated around the modular building, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and all that will be spelled out
Yes,
at a later date when it goes back before planning and zoning.
for the review of the updated conceptual plan and building elevations. At that point, they would have to provide details about the landscaping as well.
Okay. And my last question, because
You're good, go ahead.
you presented, you have two presentations. One previously when they came before mayor and council, and the newest one. And the one that we're looking at now, based on the applicant's testimony or conversation, is the present, I'm sorry, is the new layout versus the old, which means the setback is further back, correct? And can you pull that up? Because I just want to make sure that we're all clear.
Okay.
I think I got it, but
Okay.
I just want to. So unfortunately, you don't have a pointer. But the setback is definitely a great deal of a difference from the original proposed plan, if you can pull up the original.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Okay? And now go back to the proposed, the new proposed. Okay, so that it is a great deal of a difference in that, which is, and the other thing that I like, and I'm glad staff reviewed that, about the roadway being paved all the way through. All right, and again, you do understand Renaissance is a couple of months, but the traffic does get heavy coming off of 85 and going down 74, turning into Verlin B. Smith. Okay, but you probably already know this, but there's other ways to navigate around that, Valley Brook and others. Okay, all right, you answered all my questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, I have one other question.
Go ahead.
Could you, if you're able, tell me the Highway 74 overlay district requirements that would impact this project?
There are quite a few. So
Okay.
the Highway 74 Overlay District design guidelines are a little over 2 pages.
Okay.
the materials, the window placement, all of those things would significantly impact the building elevations when they're fully developed. That information, along with these conditions, were provided to the applicant and his team to make sure that they understood the expectations should mayor and council look to approve the request.
And you, sir, you do understand, because it's an overlay, those additional requirements for the project, and you agree to those? Okay. Thank you.
Ms.
Just-
Davis?
Yes, Councilman Whitmore helped me out a lot with his questions, but I just, again, want to make sure we are just approving the modular building
Yes.
that he's requesting as opposed to the one he had at his plan before. And this has to go back to planning and zoning to make sure that setback, front, back, everything, okay? They're going to handle all of that, right? I just want to make sure what I'll be responsible for approving. And the client is, okay, understand that as well. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, does any other member of council got a question? Sent? Okay. No other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Mayor,
Yes, sir. Oh, I apologize. I thought I made a motion.
conditions, yes.
In this case, I thought I brought it to the floor. Okay. Members of council, you have the item that's been read with 9 conditions. In this case, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
You're welcome.
Next item.
Just a minute.
And please don't let this be the last time attending council.
Yes.
Next item is item number 7, approval of the Southeast Broad Street Pedestrian Improvement Project Contract Award to Corbett Group.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
The purpose of this agenda item is for Mayor and Council to approve the Southeast Broad Street Pedestrian Improvements Project Contract Award to the Corbett Group for an amount of $678,276.50. The invitation to bid was advertised on November 9th, 2022. The bid opening date was December 14th, 2022, at which time 4 bids were received and read aloud. After completion of the bid evaluation, it was determined that the Corbett Group was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. The project expenditures will come out of the T-Splosh Infrastructure Pedestrian and Streetscape account, which is well-funded. Staff recommends Mayor and Council approve the contract award to the Corbett Group Southeast Broad Street Pedestrian Improvements Project for a bid price of $678,276.50. Questions?
Okay. Let me bring the item to the floor. Members of council, you have before you the item that's been read for item number 7 by the city clerk. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments by council?
Yes, Mr. Thompson, could you state for the record exactly what this project would entail? What is it that the contractor will be doing for the Southeast Broad Street project?
Pretty much connectivity between Bohannon Road, for that Bohannon Road sidewalk project we completed about a year or so ago, and we're gonna take that to the Harvest Rain Church. So that's gonna be the termini. And we're also, for the add alternate, we're doing some pedestrian improvements on Sonoya Road as well.
Why is it called Southeast Broad?
Southeast Broad Street and McLaren Road are the same.
I see. Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other question by members of council? And I just had one quick question. I noticed you indicated saying this lowest responsibility. Was this an invitation to bid, a low bid, or RFP?
Invitation for bid.
Was an invitation to bid. Okay.
Construction, we do pretty much invitation for bid. On proposals for professional service, we do RFPs.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions by council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
The next item is approval of task order number 4 with Atlas Technical Consultants for construction, engineering, and inspection services on the Southeast Broad Street pedestrian improvement project.
You want to go ahead and brief?
Just as brief history, we entered into a master services agreement with Atlas Technical Consultants on October 10th, 2022 for on-call construction and project management services. This is for the CMPM for the project we just discussed, to make sure it's adequately inspected.
Gotcha. Members of council, you've heard the item read by the city clerk for item number 8. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Jones. Any questions or comments by council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
The next item is approval of the Verlin B. Smith Road pedestrian improvement project contract award to Soul Construction.
You want
On this one, it was advertised on the same day as well. The bid opening date was at 2:30. 4 bids were received and read aloud. At the end of the bid evaluation, it was determined that Soul Construction was the lowest responsible bidder. The bid price of $1,798,950. The project expenditures will come out of the capital improvements project, line item, the first $936,000, and the remaining balance will come out of the T-Splosh pedestrian and streetscapes budget.
Members of council, you have item number 9 that was read by the city clerk. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion's been made and properly second. Any questions by council?
I'd ask again, could you just, for the record, state exactly what this project is to accomplish?
This project will entail pedestrian improvements, starting at Rivertown Road, where we stopped when we did the Rivertown Road pedestrian improvement project, and taking it to the termini right there at the Verlin B. Smith Loop, the loop going at the GDOT right away. It's going to also, for the ad alternate, it's going to have pedestrian lighting as well.
Wait, Rivertown Road is running parallel?
No, it's going to be from where we did the Rivertown Road pedestrian improvement project last year.
Okay,
We stopped in Verlin B. Smith.
Yes,
Pick up
yes.
there, and we're going to take it down to the loop, the 74 loop.
okay, all right.
It's going to be on the subdivision side of the road. Going to have a 2-foot beauty strip beside it. It's going to have pedestrian lighting similar to what you see on the downtown LCI streetscape project as an ad alternate.
Fantastic, yes. Lighting is long overdue there. Thank you.
Any other questions about Mr. Whitmore?
Clarification, I think I just heard you say it, just for clarification. It's going to be on the Renaissance side, or the opposite side,
On the subdivision side,
subdivision side.
in front of the parks at Durham Lakes, in front of Durham Lakes Golf and Country Club, and in front of Victoria Estates.
Got it, thank you.
Sir.
Any other questions by members of council? Seeing none?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Then on the subdivision side, there has begun some sidewalks there, but it looks unfinished. Is there a plan to continue that down to Tell Road?
This is going to extend the whole way on the subdivision side, so all the way down to the...
On both sides?
No,
That's what I'm asking, on the
Subdivision
subdivision side. No, I mean on the, but I was thinking about the new subdivision, Fern.
Ferndale?
Yeah, yes.
No, it's not going to be on that side.
Oh, okay, so what's the plan for that? Because it looks unfinished. And whose is
It'll be a
that?
future project.
Okay, that is the city's responsibility?
It's in the right of way, yes, but we're trying to accommodate the folks that live in the existing subdivisions.
Okay, I'm just asking what the plan was, because it started, but
We're gonna, when we do
stopped.
some improvements for the Park Road Extension project, we're gonna do some sidewalk in front of Renaissance Festival, do some turn lanes and things like that to accommodate that, so it's gonna take it to that section, then, so it's gonna be just a small section to finish.
And when is that planned for?
Once we finish the design, that's gonna be part of the, I don't know if I can disclose this, but it's gonna be part of the right-of-way negotiations for the Park Road Extension project.
This year, next year?
The design is gonna be finished this annual year.
Okay,
We've got a put it out to bid, but, you know, right-of-way negotiations could take a couple of months.
That timing is still not definitive.
Okay.
I don't
It is a
want to say when
priority
it's going to start
project. That's why
construction, but
Mr. Thompson's hesitating because he doesn't want to commit to a date. It is an active project, but those right-of-way negotiations can't be definitively timed at this point because that's a process of acquisition right-of-way. It is an active project that we're moving forward. Depending on the timing of that right-of-way acquisition, Mr. Thompson, correct me if I'm wrong, that will determine the final determination date. And so we'll certainly get that to you.
So in process, I thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
design is underway. It's
Okay.
about 60% complete.
Okay, thank
More
you.
question, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Whitmore.
Yes, sir.
Additional clarification. Renaissance side, past Ferndale, the new development. Is that going to be a partnership with the city and Renaissance? Because that is right by their property, right? The additional sidewalk as a future project that you just spoke of.
Right. That's part of the preliminary negotiations.
Okay,
That's
no,
in
I,
process,
no, I got it
Yeah.
because of the additional roadway and all that. That's all. I got it. I understand. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions by council?
Oh, Mayor.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, back to the item of the modular,
Building,
there's an ordinance that needs to be approved with that item. It's an ordinance granting the applicant Living Word Church Ministry as a modular structure to be used as a church facility to identify the conditions attached to the grant of the modular building to establish the effective date and other purposes.
And it includes all of the conditions listed in the agenda item and articulated up front. It just has to be done by ordinance.
I guess my question would be for parliamentary purposes, are we trying to amend a motion? Or am I trying to approve an additional motion?
Well, I guess, yeah, amend
Okay,
the existing motion to approve, to attach to it approval of the ordinance
okay,
as a part of the.
okay. Members of council, in this case, I'd like to make a motion to amend the approved previous motion for the Marla building to not only approve the 9 conditions, but to approve the ordinance. Do I need to state that ordinance?
Ordinance outlining.
Ordinance outlining all the criteria and guidelines associated with modular buildings and property. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a sec? That was Mr. Whitmore. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Heath was seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item. Number 10, I believe.
Next item is number 10, approval of task order number 5 with Atlas Technical Consultants for construction, engineering, and inspection services on the Verlin B. Smith Road pedestrian improvements project.
You want to go ahead, sir?
And this is just for the CEI, well, the construction, engineering, and inspection associated with the Verlin B. Smith pedestrian improvement project.
Members of council, you've heard item number 10 read by the city clerk. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions by council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Number 11 is approval of the Go Lightning Street pedestrian improvement project contract award to SDNC Incorporated.
You want to talk about that, Lester?
Yes, sir. This project was bid on the same day as well. The bid opening was at 3 p.m. At this time, 3 bids were received and read aloud. After completion of the bid evaluation, it was determined that SDNC was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder with a bid price of $1,133,336.35. However, the proposed contract is just for $983,336.35 because Add Alternate 2 would not be included in the project scope. Just wanted to make that clarification.
Okay. Members of council, you've had the item read with the, in this case, with the dollar value of $983,336.35. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Is there any questions or comments by council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That motion carries.
The next item is approval of task order number 3 with Atlas Technical Consultants for construction engineering and inspection services.
Go ahead, sir.
And this one is for the construction, engineering, and inspection associated with the Go Lightly project.
Members of council, you've heard item number 12, task order read by the city clerk. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Any questions or comments by council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Okay, thank you. Mr. City,
Thank you.
Mr. City Administrator, did you have any part of your report you want to talk tonight or wait?
No, Mayor, I'll do that at the April 10th meeting.
Oh, do it April 10th, okay. Members of council, at this time I'll do the council comments. I'll actually start this time with Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see. Part of my comments I stated earlier in reference to our administration putting up the weatherization information for our citizens that I appreciate a lot. And again, like I stated before, if we could just kind of promote it a little bit more, because sometimes people don't look at the website a lot. That particular project is awesome to our people. If they qualify for it, there will be work done on a person's home to make sure that there are no cracks or anything that would incur additional costs for heating or cooling your home. And that would be no cost to the citizen for it. And I had recommended that maybe, if possible, we could do a forum to answer any questions that our citizens may have in reference to that project. I also want to state to our administration that there's another great thing that Habitat for Community is doing, and I would like for us to look into that and be able to share that with our citizens. It is called Repair with Kindness. And if they qualify for that, they will come in and look at the home, go over the home, and any major repairs up to $20,000, they will already have certified vendors and contractors to come in and provide those repairs. Now, that $20,000, there will be an attachment to your mortgage in reference to that for 5 years, and then you will not have to pay anything on it. But more information will be given to you, but it's something I think that we need to share with our citizens. And also, lastly, I want to share the homestead exemption we have here for the city of Fairburn. We need to have that done, the application done for our citizens over 65, right? Before April 1st. All the information is on our website, but I just want to remind you, April 1st is right around the corner to make sure that you get that done. It's a $10,000 exemption on your property tax for the year 2023, right? Okay, I know y'all will correct me if I'm saying something right. But these are opportunities for our citizens, and so I just want to make you aware of it so you can utilize these things. And that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Smallwood.
I don't have anything this evening. It's just always good to see everyone. I really like you guys showing up and showing out today in support, so that's good to have in the community. I want to piggyback on Councilman Portis Jones. Continue to show up because we are a strong community. And I always just like to see people I, came up with out there. So, yeah, I don't have anything. Good evening. Oh, I will say this, though. I made light of it with the mayor a moment ago. We got a deep freeze coming tonight. Bring the pets and the ferns in, all right? Because last time we had a freeze, it wasn't too nice, so I'm a little shell shocked with it when we mentioned freeze, because we know what happened with us in December, but hopefully this is our last snap, and cold spell rather, but it's great to see everyone and have a great evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Heath.
No comment.
Mr. Patton.
No comment.
Mr. Whitmore.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Well, just like to say this has been another city council meeting where we covered a lot of business for the city. I in particular would like to say to the pastor and his congregation, welcome. I remember you when you came before us many, many years ago. And the fact that you're looking at energy efficient type buildings and things that's going to help your congregation get in and grow. And then with your phase 2, phase 3, and so on and so forth. So I think it's a beautiful thing, saying welcome to the city. I also would ask you, if you have not done so already, there is a ministerial alliance within the city of Fairburn, and I'm sure that other pastors would love for you to join in. It's a collaborative thing, and you know, we just love to see our pastors engage and be active, as well as when our summer series starts, and I'm sure you'll hear more about that. We love having our pastors in the congregation just to come out and just enjoy an evening with the citizens of Fairburn at our stage area. So a lot of information, you can find it all on our website, and I just happy to have y'all come into the city and finally going to get that building up and erected. All right.
Ms. Porter Jones.
I too want to say welcome, Pastor, and the congregants of your church. Welcome to Fairburn. Welcome to the City Council meeting. You see the dynamics and the interchange that's going on, and all of the questions that we ask so that we are clear about what is going on, and that it continues to be consistent with the vision that we have for the city. So I hope you didn't take our questioning personal, but we're just trying to understand. But I also want to, quite frankly, congratulate you for going modular. You forced the city to look at an ordinance that needs some updating and evaluation, so that's a good thing. Secondly, modular, quite frankly, is the wave of the future. It is cost effective and it is highly energy efficient. So congratulations for that, even though your motivation for doing it was different, but you are being progressive. So congratulations on that. And again, I want to echo, please do come back. And like Councilman Whitmore said, we'd love your engagement, all of you, in the various activities of the city. I also want to say to invite our Chief of Police to one of your services. He's newly appointed this past January, February, I can't remember now, but he is, his focus is on community policing, and he wants to show up at all of the churches throughout the community. And I brought that up because he was at my church for Sunday, and unfortunately I was not there because I was in Selma commemorating Bloody Sunday. But Chief Bazidlo, I want to thank you for coming to Fairburn, to St. John, AME, Pastor Ramsey, and all the members really, really appreciated that, and we look forward to a continued relationship. And then lastly, I want to say congratulations to Mr. Martin and the entire utility department for being the recipient of the Jeff Cook Award. If I recall, I think this is a first for the city of Fairburn, and that speaks volumes, both in terms of what the utility manager is doing and how he is working and operating with the leadership of the city. So thank you, Mr. Phillips and Ms. Chris, and to Mayor Avery. Please express our appreciation to all of the staff of the utility, but that is fantastic. And the fact that we got 88% out of 100, but as my parents would say, is why not 100? Okay, so we got to work on that. All right, yes, but congratulations. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, and Mr. Phillips, I was going to ask for clarity, because we did it during the workshop. I was going to, would you explain publicly? I thought John must have stepped out with that, with the plaque. Would you just explain the award that you was just talking about?
Certainly. So the award is awarded each year to municipal utilities, cities that provide municipal utilities, based on a specific set of criteria. For those who may not be aware, utility workers are what we refer to as essential workers. All of us know what happens when we don't have power. Recently, we had a tornado that came through in January in certain areas just south of us, and typically what you will find is electric crews from all over the area descend on that area to try to restore power. I think sometimes it's easy to overlook the fact that it's highly dangerous work. They're high voltage wires, and sadly, twice in the first 4 months of the year, we saw electric linemen who unfortunately lost their lives doing this work. Safety is always important in the city of Fairburn. In every department, we stress that. But it is particularly important in the utilities department because they work around such dangerous elements. So the fact that our department was recognized for going above and beyond and ensuring that we are doing that dangerous work in a very safe way to keep our employees safe is notable. It is a compliment to John Martin, but also the men and women who do the work every day. They have to be diligent in the way they go about it, and I can't name all of them. I can tell you we have an outstanding electric department, utilities department as a whole, but our linemen do a tremendous job. They are out there working whenever we have power outages. They happen from time to time for various reasons. They respond quickly. They get power restored quickly, and then they take on additional projects. Councilman Whitmore, we now have lighting on the Betty Hanna building. Our electric department did that. And so I say that to say, in context, this is a notable award. We should be very proud of the men and women that work in our electric division, that they were able to get a statewide recognition, paying attention to safety and keeping our employees safe.
Yes, yes, yes.
And just to clarify, make sure your statement about the linemen that lost their lives, that did not happen in the city of Fairburn.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
No, ma'am.
Again, thank you for that clarification. I've just got a few comments. This is due to the National League of Cities meeting. We will only have one meeting this month. Due to the National League of Cities, we will actually only have one meeting in the month of March. So our next meeting will commence in the month of April. I want to just also, we get a lot of complaints about services. Today, we want to just take note that we got actually a compliment for improved service in our sanitation for GFL. So we get a lot of complaints, but we never talk about when we get, in this case, complimentary services of companies that are actually contracting from us. That contract is still going out for bid. But again, I just want to say again, a resident made it real clear that they was extremely happy about the improvement of the service at GFL.
Mayor, if I could just add on to that, thank you for mentioning that. We have noticed an improvement in GFL services, but that's also attributable to our customer service representatives who've been working very closely with GFL to make sure that those services are diligent. We still have a ways to go, but we're starting to hear positive comments from citizens. The service has gotten better, and that's due to both the staff and GFL who changed their management team. And so it's a new management team in place for about the last 9 months. Yeah. And coupled with Ms. Quaquita Lane and the customer service reps in that department, it has resulted in a positive change.
Yeah. And speaking along the lines of GFL, wanted the utility department conversation this earlier today actually with me, the utility director, and Ms. Lane about an effort to make sure folk understand what GFL picks up outside of the normal trash day. We want to make sure that is understood because in our efforts to make sure our city does not become, full of litter, So we're gonna, you'll see, in this case, information going on our website, making sure it's clear what is it they pick up. So that's just since I brought up GFL. I want to also mention, ladies and gentlemen, again, Ms. Davis already spoke about the senior citizen exemption. We've got a lot of questions in the last 2 weeks about the exemptions for senior citizens 65. That information again, please, if I'm correct, is April 1st?
April 1st is the
April 1st is the deadline. Please, we have no control over that as relates to once you miss that deadline. Please don't miss that easy $10,000 savings.
It is on our website, Mayor, and on all of our social media
And
platforms as well.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is
it's on all our platforms, all our social media. So please, if you think you have a resident or friend in Fairburn that may qualify, ask them to at least go to the website, because I think it's only 2 conditions.
Yes.
It's been downsized substantially, so please go and at least check to see that you qualify for that tax exemption.
There is an application.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
there's an application that needs to be filled out and notarized.
Okay, gotcha. Actually, in this case, and I apologize, I can never pronounce her name correctly. In this case, right now, we're mourning with the family of our newly elected state representative that passed last week, Tish Najis, and I apologize, I always have a problem pronouncing her last name, but she was a newly elected state representative. In this case, she was actually over the city of Fairburn, Tyrone, and several other cities in Fayette County. Her service, after speaking with her sister this weekend, the service is on the 25th of March. The time has not been established yet, or is to be announced. Just want, again, more, in this case, stand in support of a young lady that had the back of the city of Fairburn, along with our newly representative that once served as a council member, Lydia Glaze. So again, if you will, just please send support to that family, in this case, for a lady that, in this case, represented well in just 2 months of service. Want to also, again, I wouldn't be doing what I know I'm supposed to do. Pastor and Living Word, since you're here in Fairburn, I expect to see you part of the Fairburn Festival that's coming October the 1st. So whatever you and your congregation have to get together with, and unfortunately, I don't have a recent video, but you may want to go look at the Fairburn Fall Festival 2017. Go on the website and you'll see an hour-and-a-half parade. Okay, so again, you're now you're basically part of our family, Fairburn family. So I won't have a problem if you bring 3 or 4 trucks or whatever you want to do to, and bring your congregation. So with that being, and again, I just want to thank you. So again, want to remind our members of council and those other members that the South Florida Municipal Association meeting is this Thursday. Is actually in the city of Fairburn, where we'll have a GDOT representative, Dana Lemon, speaking to all the mayors and council of the South Florida region. So with that being said, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion is made by Mr. Whitmore, second by Mr. Heath. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Come on, you got that.